All right. Well, welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your host, Kinsey. We have Mr. Dan Gandy with us. What's up, Dan? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course, of course. And we have a very special guest today. We have
Welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology, where you'll get the inside scoop from top producing real estate professionals all around the country, best practices, techniques, and learn about what technology they're using to drive to ensure their success in this world we call real estate.
Today we have Matt Tenzar. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Of course, of course. So the show's all about you. We want to hear your story, get a little bit into your business. So the first couple questions are going to kind of all tie in together. So starting off, we want to understand what areas you serve, how long you've been in the business, and what made you get into the business.
Ooh, very good question. So I work in San Jose, California, or Silicon Valley. I've been a realtor for over 27 years. Helping clients. I've sold almost darn near 700 houses in my career.
Wow.
What started me in the career, that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of a generational realtor. So my mom's dad was a realtor, my mom was a realtor, and then I became a realtor. So when you're looking at my website and it says Tenzar team and you're like, well, who's the team? Well, it started as my mom and I. So that's how it became the Tenzar team. It was my mom and I, and she's retired, and now I just continue on with that.
Wow, that's so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
And then, what parts of San Jose do you do you go everywhere? What's your?
So I generally do Santa Clara County as a whole. So San Jose is a city, and then there's Santa Clara County, and so I do all of that area. So Santa Clara County is pretty broad. So if you were to break it down, it's just there are certain areas inside San Jose, like Blossom Valley, Almaden, Cambrian, Santa Teresa, and then there are other cities like Santa Clara, Campbell, Saratoga, Los Gatos, Morgan Hill, Gilroy. These are all kind of areas that I work in.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really cool. And then from my perspective, I think you told us you've done almost or over 700 homes transactions, but from a buyer, seller, percentage, where would you say the mix of your business is in terms of listings and working with buyers?
So over my career, it's mostly centered on listings. I would have to say about 80% of my business, well, between 70 and 80% of my business is listings. I do pick up buyers, and I utilize buyers from a lot of the open houses that I do, a lot of the marketing that I do, things like that. I pick up some buyers, but for the most part, I do mostly on listings. That's my biggest point of sale.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then in terms of technology tactics, from a traditional side, and then we'll move into maybe the tech side, what has been, your bread and butter in terms of marketing, your real estate business?
Marketing for me comes from a lot of past clients. I get roughly, it's not a huge number. A lot of people say, 80, 90% of my business. It's not that number. It's probably about 50 or 60% of my business comes from past client referrals. Another 20, 25% or so comes from basically online advertising and marketing that way. And then the last percentage of that comes from open houses. I know that everybody says that's old and passé, but to me, it's not. I have a good personality. People walk in. If I give them what they want and I give them all the information they need, just like an online lead, they tend to gravitate towards that and want to work with you. So that's where most of my business comes from.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then in terms of, and I'm going a little off cue here, but in terms of the listing marketing that you're doing and how you present your properties, what would you say differentiates yourself from other agents in the market and how you market a listing?
That's a good question. Mainly from a marketing perspective, especially in today's environment, we have to do a lot of things virtually. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I really enjoy doing, that I've always been doing, is I love photography. And so a lot of people hire photographers and bring them out and they do this. the problem I found is that I get their perspective of what the house looks like, and I don't get maybe what I think a buyer's perspective would be of what a house should look like. So over the years, I've learned to take my own pictures. I've gotten, in my opinion, quite good at it. And the goal for that is to take pictures that are focused on what I think the attributes to the house are. So I take hundreds of pictures of a house. I spend a considerable amount of time going through each of those pictures to make sure I get the right ones. And then to tap that off, I then end up creating floor plans for properties. So you can buy those as well, but I do focus on that and try to create that. I'm in the house anyway for a good amount of time taking pictures. And then once I have all of that, we get that online, and now we're doing videos and things like that to just and make the house look even better. And it's just, once we get there, then it goes online and we start marketing from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you use for floor plans in terms of software or?
Oh yeah, so it's so the program I use, and now you're catching me off guard, so I got to think about that for a second. Now I'm like, oh gosh, you're going to ask me that question. It's a free program. It's on.
Well, I'll chime in really quick and say that I respect that you do that, because my wife and I just bought a home and it's just been a nightmare. You're like, okay, we want to buy a couch. We want to do this. We want to do that. And we're sight unseen. So we're like, okay, where is the floor plan? So we're having the realtors go back in, take pictures, do all the measurements, send it to us. And it's not proactive. It's so reactive. So I love how you're being proactive to get that for your individual.
Yeah, I do that. I do that for every house. So every house gets a floor. It doesn't matter the price range. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, there are certain houses, you know, today we're seeing Matterport and we're seeing all these other variations of that. You know, understand, I've been doing this for 10 years. So every house, every flyer, everything has a floor plan to it that I've created. When I get to houses that are more unique with rounded corners and things that I can't really, it would take an inordinate amount of time to complete, then I usually have Tour Factory, and I get what they define as an iGuide tour, and they do it, and they do it with lasers and things like that, which still takes about the same amount of time, but you know, their measurements are a bit more accurate than say my measurements would be. Mine are pretty good, but they're not like to the 1/8 of an inch like an iGuide tour would be.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a good. Thank you for sharing that, because that's the first. You've been the first person on our show that incorporates and in-houses their own photography and floor plans, which gives you a unique advantage over understanding the house, the layout, as well as being able to get the end product in terms of presentation of marketing.
Yeah. Well, it allows, I spend a lot of time, you know, I mean, as an agent, we're spending a lot of time in the house, and Norman, as you know, you're just going through that whole marketing process. As an agent, you're wondering, a lot of people wonder, well, what the heck do you do? You know, I mean, other than, you know, you hire this person, you hire that person, you're out there. Well, I'm a very hands-on type agent. So I like to get into it. I like to understand the house that I'm listing. When you design a floor plan, it's interesting because you get to see where the walls are going, and you kind of get to see a layout. You get a different perspective of the layout of a house, and you get, like, when a person asks you, gosh, I really would like to do this, and then I can show them, you know, on my iPad, oh yeah, here's how I did this. Here's where these walls could move, and it actually gives you quite a unique perspective of the house, and I enjoy that. So.
It's amazing. Well, let me pass it over to Norman for some more questions.
Yeah, definitely. I love that perspective too, because I never thought about it in that way of, like, you hire a professional photography company, they come in, they take the photography, but then to have the perspective of, like, what you're saying, Matt, is a completely different level of experience and just the way that you perceive the property and what you want to specifically focus on, which you know is going to sell the property, right? Which is awesome. Open floor plan or whatever the case may be. So now we're at the part of the show where we understand a little bit of your story. We know this is generational, right? Your mom's now retired. You're here. So where do you see yourself moving forward in the next 5 years? Where do you see your business?
Well, I still have relatively younger kids, so they're still in high school. And my youngest is now a junior in high school. So for years, my focus has been mostly going through my real estate career while focusing on my kids. My average yearly sales is about between 20 and 30 houses a year. It's been that way for many years now, and I've often thought, well, let's see. Do I take that? Do I create a business, and do I become the manager of a team of agents? I've thought of that, but probably not while my kids are in school. It seems I'm right at this spot where I think it's just perfect. I have enough balance between my real estate career and my family career that it's good. Maybe when my kids, in another 3 years, they're going to be old enough to move on, then maybe I can start focusing a bit more on team building. I've often thought it would be a good idea to have a team and bring those other agents in and start teaching what I do to them and help them expand businesses and create more from there. So I guess if I have to look at 5 years where I want to be, I probably want to start the team process and building that out. Maybe have 1 or 2, maybe 3 other agents underneath me, buyer's agent, maybe a couple of prospecting agents, that type of stuff, to move on and help it's kind of how I started when my mom took me under her wing. It would be good to do that. I don't know if my kids want to join right now. They're like, no, I see what you have to do, and that ain't no way I'm doing that. So maybe somebody else. I don't know. It's hard to say right now. I mean, it's a groove, and I like where I'm at right now, and everything seems to be in balance, so that I don't like to throw that out of balance at the moment.
Yeah, I love that. And that's so key too. Having that balance is great, because we've had guests on the show that have ran brokerages, had big teams, then they went back and they say, okay, now this isn't working. I'm out of balance, recalibrate here. So that's awesome that you have your balance and you know that, okay, maybe I'll start going in that direction, but you got a little ways before that. So that's great. So we're getting closer to the end of the show. At this part of the show, I know Dan has a question. I have a couple more, and then we'll be ending up here. So go ahead, Dan, take it away.
Yep, this is my last question I always like to ask all the agents, and I always like to frame it as, if you were an agent just getting licensed today, tomorrow, this week, what would you say is the number one golden piece of information or knowledge or advice you could provide them in moving forward with their real estate career?
Hard work. It's as simple as that. The real estate is inundated with all these silver bullet ideas that if I put all this money here, I'm going to make all this other money. If I put my money over here, it'll make more. There are no silver bullets in real estate other than work hard. What that entails to you, whether that's door knocking or cold calling or going out and handing out flyers or just networking with your people, do it consistently, do it every single day. And there is no getting around that. There just isn't. There isn't any silver bullets out there. You just got to work hard, and you've got to manage yourself. If I have to break that down to smaller pieces, obviously the database, understanding where your money is going, I would be focused on those types of things. I would not. I would have a business account. I mean, this is something that would be very minor in beginning, but I would start off with a business account and then use my money from there, so you have a good idea of what you're spending money on. It's kind of crazy if you don't do that and you just start using your own checking account and going on. It's kind of, you don't understand what you're spending money on. So I think a good understanding of that and and just that work ethic will get you far in this business.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Awesome. Yeah, and you're the first guest that ever said, like, get an actual separate checking account, business and personal, and understand where your money's going, because that's a big thing. I mean, I've met agents in the past that, hey, I can't use services anymore. I'm $60,000 in tax liabilities. Like, whoa, it's just like, so you don't know where your money is going. It's like, that could be a huge detrimental to your company. And they say, what, the first 3 months, you don't have any business. You got to like build and do what you said, be consistent. And then you're going to start filling your pipeline and then getting maybe a buyer or seller under your belt. So, wow.
Well, and when you take that and you look at, all right, so I have a business, I have a business credit card. I have a business checking account. So all expenses go there. So when you just mentioned taxes, not that this is a tax show, but you can at least know where your expenses are. And when you do that business expense report, you can see, oh, look, I spent all of this. This is where I go into that no silver bullet, because you would be amazed how much money you could spend on all of these automated systems that come in, and you're just plugging away, and it's $5 here, $10 here. Pretty soon you're at $1,000 a month, and you don't even know where that $1,000 is. But like, especially now that when we saw we had to trim finances because of this whole COVID thing, I could see where I was spending money that was a waste, and then I was able to eliminate that very quickly.
That's awesome. That's a really good point. I love that. Yeah, definitely not a tax show, but good advice for the listeners and, of course, the viewers out there. So that's awesome. So for a new agent or any agent really listening or watching, what's a good book? Any good books or podcasts or anything that you listen to or watch yourself that's helped you evolve throughout the years and grow your business?
Oh, that's an interesting trick question. I listen to a lot of I'm a statistics kind of fanatic. I love tracking all the numbers on MLS, and I love seeing what ebbs and flows. That's kind of my data points. I don't really focus on salesy type things. I've done that. I mean, I've done Mike Ferry. I've done almost every training seminar that there is. I even started real estate in between in between leaving the military and becoming a realtor. I was a real estate sales training seminar salesperson. So I had all of this stuff. And I guess when I go away to kind of refresh, I don't want to listen. I don't want to do that type of stuff. I'm more or less, let's get my mind clear. I either take my dogs for a walk, or I am kind of a Trekkie fan. So I zone out on stuff like that. But it's mostly so I can open my mind and clear it again, and then so I can start all over. Maybe that's different. Maybe that's not what people want to hear, but for me, that helps me get back onto level playing field and back on track with my business. Yeah,
I mean, it's different, but I love it. I mean, I love that you have a different approach, and that's what's so unique about having new guests on the show, because everyone's going to relate to different shows, and that's great that for you it's just like, hey, I want to unplug sometimes, clear my mind here, and then
you have to, in my opinion. So I like that there's a lot of firsts that I've given you. So hey,
yeah, I love it. I love it. So now we're at the part of the show pretty much at the end now, where we want to just open it up to you. So if there's anything that you would like for our viewers and listeners, maybe a piece of advice, golden nugget, something, project, listing, anything you want to put out there and share with the audience.
Well, I just want to share that, I talked a lot about hard work and that. I learned that hard work from my parents, who have always just instilled that into me. Work hard. My dad loved to use the golden rule. I think that was every other sentence out of his mouth that said, "Oh yeah, golden rule: do unto others as you would do unto them." And it took me years to figure that out. But real estate, as I evolved from I guess it started as a military person, coming out of that, just learning how to serve other people and take care of other people. I think as a realtor, and if I had to instill any type of golden nuggets onto you, is that you're in a service business. The person that you're assisting is your business, and you have to make sure that they are treated like you would want to be treated. That in and of itself is, you're going to work hard, you're going to do all this stuff, but if you don't take care of that person that you're working for, then you may never hear or see that person ever again. And you may get that one-time commission check, but you may not get a second commission check down the road. Mm-hmm. I just helped a client close a house here that I helped them buy this house 20 years ago. And I had contacted them, all the standard stuff that we do with past clients, but they called me again and they said, "Hey, you helped us." I knew who they were, but they said, "You helped us, and I just remember how you took care of us. I remember what you did. You followed up with us, but I just remembered how you helped us, and we wanted to use you again to sell this house." And it was, it's something that it's intrinsic. I mean, it's one thing to just have that happen, but they were so specific about it that it was just great to hear. And this reminded me that we are in a service-oriented business, and that taking care of somebody today may mean a commission check down the road too, and maybe multiples as they refer you out. And I just think that's highly important, that to remember you are in a service business. Take care of your clients, treat them with the utmost respect, and do anything you can for them within your power. That would be my golden nugget advice.
That's awesome.
That was very awesome. What's that saying? They say someone will forget what you did, but someone will never forget the way that you made them feel. And the fact that you made them feel something, and 20 years later, besides any online marketing or phone calls or mailers, like they were specific with what you did specifically, that was whack.
Shows a lot of your character. Everyone, they remember that. That's huge.
Yeah.
So, good job.
Good job for sure. Well, I mean, geez, Matt, thank you so much for being on the show and giving our viewers and listeners some things to take home and really be able to take to heart. And we hope that they could take what they've heard and seen today and apply it to their business so they can have some more success. Dan, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. And to all the viewers and listeners out there, we wish you the best. Good luck out there, and we'll see you on the next one.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you found value and took something you can apply to your business today. Be sure to join our community on Facebook, Real Estate vs. Technology, all spelled out. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would appreciate it. It's Real Estate Tech. And of course, if you or someone else you know would like to be a part of our show, just go ahead and send us an email. It's reversetechtalk@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.